Typically Royal FM 95.1.
Over 50 years since Nigeria's independence, the country is yet to have a female governor.
We have entertainment, TV and channels, so why not one for women that are more than half the world population, doing so much for survival of the world?
We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
Saying a woman should only be seen and not to be heard is violence against women.
Women are a vital part of our existence, the mothers of our children, our support. Hence, they deserve to live full lives, 100%.
Tune in every Tuesday by 11 a.m.
on Royal FM 95.1 for the program 100% Women, 100% Women, celebrating women.
Inefficiency in educational sector, health sector, political sector, governance and all, everything boils down to corruption. And corruption is not just about giving or taking money. Corruption is about not doing the right thing.
Good morning. You're welcome to another episode of 100% Woman, Royal FM 95.1 Ilorin. I am Timi Tokwe Oluleye. The voice you just heard is the voice of late Professor Dora Akunyili, whose story I will be featuring on the program today. She was very much beloved. She was known to be a woman of integrity, a woman of courage, who fought corruption with every single might that she had while she was alive. As part of a new series that I will be showcasing on this program, it is called Legendary Women, and on Legendary Women I will be sharing with you stories of great women of repute and how they made their marks and their footprints on the sands of time. So today I will be sharing with you the great courageous story of late Professor Dora Akunyili. Do stay tuned. The late and beloved Professor Dora Akunyili OFR was born in Makurdi, Benue State on July 14th, 1954 to Chief and Mrs. Paul Young Ademobi. She was blessed with 6 children and grandchildren. Akunyili was an internationally renowned pharmacist, pharmacologist, erudite scholar, seasoned administrator, and visionary leader. She had her early elementary education at St. Patrick's Primary School, Usiofua, Anambra, in 1966. And then proceeded to Queen of Rosary Secondary School, Nsukka, Enugu State, in 1973. Her exceptional grades in the Forced School Living Certificate and West African School Certificate earned her the Eastern Government Post-Primary Scholarship and the Federal Government of Nigeria Undergraduate Scholarship. She obtained her first degree in pharmacology in 1978 and got her PhD in 1985 from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Dora Akunyili was a postgraduate fellow of University of London and a fellow of the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists. She was also a fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, member of the New York Academy of Science, International Narcotics Control Board, United States Pharmacopoeia Expert Committee, Association of African Medicinal Plant Standards, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, Medicines for Malaria Venture, and International Council Control. She was a woman of integrity that back in 1998, Dora Akunyili was the Southeast Zonal Secretary of the Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, and she had to travel to the United States for health reasons. General Buhari, the then PTF chairman, approved £17,100 for medical treatment. She returned some part of the money which she did not use, and Buhari was jubilant about her honesty and personal integrity. The late Dora Akunyili wrote a letter to General Buhari explaining that she was returning £12,000 out of the £17,100 because doctors decided surgery was not needed. The courageous story of late Professor Dora Akunyili will continue after this break. Please stay tuned.
Over 50 years since Nigeria's independence, the country is yet to have a female governor.
We have entertainment, TV and channels, so why not one for women that are more than half the world population, doing so much for survival of the world?
We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
Saying a woman should only be seen and not to be heard is violence against women.
Women are a vital part of our existence, the mothers of our children, our support. Hence, they deserve to live full lives, 100%.
Tune in every Tuesday by 11 a.m.
On Royal FM 95.1 for the program 100% Women, 100% Women, celebrating women.
Welcome back from that break. The program you're listening to is 100% Women on Real FM 95.1 Ilorin. And today I am sharing with you the story of a legendary woman, a legendary Nigerian woman who is by the name of Professor Dora Akunyili. She's late, but of course she left her legacy, and her legacy truly lives on. So I'll continue on with her story right now. Late Professor Dora Akunyili's drive and determination to make Nigeria a better place was very evident. She was the Director General of NAFDAC from 2001 to 2008, where she had landmark achievements and outstanding successes. Professor Dora Akunyili was known to be a strong woman with a good character who had the zeal to root out corruption out of Nigeria. She fought tooth and nail to abolish fake drugs by implementing stringent protocols and sanctions in NAFDAC.
Professor Dora Akunyili came to national prominence when she was appointed Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control in 2001. She carried out sweeping reforms that helped Nigeria, at the time, put up a strong fight against fake drugs and food products.
We have to see details of what you want to do, and the patients need to be informed that this drug we are giving your child is for testing. They have to give consent. You don't have to do it in a surreptitious way.
Her ability to effectively handle the agency earned her public accolades and several recognitions within and outside Nigeria.
We grant you permission to do it.
Based on a performance at NAFDAC in 2005 at a program titled This World, Akunyili was featured in One Woman's War with Fake Drugs by BBC reporter Olenka Frankiel. And Olenka had this to say about Dora Akunyili and the impact she made at NAFDAC. When at NAFDAC, she built a new team of female inspectors and pharmacists. She believes most men are too easily tempted by bribes and started to prosecute importers of fake drugs. Before Akunyili took the job, deaths linked to fake drugs were commonplace in Nigeria. At least 41% of the drugs in circulation were thought to be counterfeit. And this, she says, was a conservative estimate. Some reports suggested as much as 80% of medicine in the country were fake. During that year, A survey of 600 samples of drugs in Nigeria suggested that the proportion had fallen to 16.7%. It is just one indicator, but it suggested that Late Dora made some success. During her 6 years tenure at the agency, she engaged in a non-stop battle against fakes in her country. She raised public awareness of problems through campaigns and school competitions. She increased spot checks at seat airports, and she publicly burnt fake drugs worth more than $150 million. Also, the actions of the agency led to 45 convictions and 60 court cases pending. She discusses her experiences as a NAFDAC's Director General with Ibrahim Ismaila Ahmed of NTA.
First of all, I owe what I am to this country, Nigeria. And I've always believed that there is nothing I can do for my country that would equal what the country has done for me. All through my life, I went through school on scholarship because I'm a Nigerian. My secondary education was on scholarship because I had a distinction in my primary school certificate. My university education was on scholarship because I had a distinction for my school certificate. And my PhD was, of course, on scholarship. I was also a graduate assistant. My postdoctoral in University of London, Commonwealth Fellowship Award, because Nigeria is in the Commonwealth. So you can see Nigeria has pampered me all my life. Secondly, the way I was appointed as Director General NAFDAC left me with no option than to really fight with all my life. President Obasanjo appointed me Director General NAFDAC despite stiff political opposition. Most of the politicians had their candidates. Even the then Senate President had a strong candidate that he wanted for the position. But trust President Obasanjo, he's a man, I wouldn't call him stubborn, I would call him somebody that is steadfast in whatever he believes in. Positively stubborn, put it that way. Because of what he heard about me when I was in PTF, he believed that I would be able to do the job. And I quote him, he said that corruption is the bane of regulation. That once somebody can shun money, it is almost done for any regulatory activity. And what the problem we had in NAFDAC was poor regulation, fueled by corruption, and of course, lack of public awareness. So when President Obasanjo insisted on appointing me, politicians came up with reasons why I should not be appointed. They said, well, this is an Igbo lady. The Minister of Health was also...
Sorry for the brief interruption. We have to go for a quick commercial break. Afterwards, we'll continue with the interview that Late.Prof Dora Akunyili had with Ibrahim Ismaila Ahmed of NTA. Please stay tuned.
péré lọ sọ́jà tí ó fi rèso kó sì padà wọlé pẹ̀lú ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ́ngòrò ọsàn àti ápùlù ọlọ́gọ́rùn-ún mẹ́jọ náírà. èyí mọ̀ ga jù kẹ́. bí smart connect rínú ìwọ ṣáà ti fowó ìpè ọlọ́gọ́rùn kan náírà sórí fóònù rẹ kíá ló gba ọgọ́rùn-ún mẹ́jọ náírà fún ìpè àti data wọn ó tún fún ọ ní ìlọ́po méjì data ní gbogbo ìgbà tó o bá ra data láti gbádùn àǹfààní yìí tààrà ṣẹ̀ṣà báyìí kó o lọ ra síìmù Airtel lónìí kó o sì ṣàkọsílẹ̀ rẹ̀ fúnra rẹ̀.
ó ní ìlànà àti òfin tó rọ̀ mọ́. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hi, I'm Chef Eros, and as a chef, I only look for the best quality, like ShopRite quality. They've got their own world-class butchery, where expert butchers prepare the finest restaurant-quality meats, sourced from only the very best local farms, like A-grade extra matured and thick-cut rump, fillet, and T-bone steaks, all at low prices. So if you want to cook like a chef, shop like a chef, switch to ShopRite. Lower prices you can trust, always.
Like Uncle Thomas, we serve not like anything or person with a waste time. Nobody like traffic with tire wrapper. Taylor wait on 2 days to 15. And Nollywood people, they go turn film to part 1, part 2, even 5 self. Now, where we tell you, say, with the new Union mobile app, you fit sabi ATM we get cash. How you won't take believe? Not be like Uncle Thomas, oh. Sharply sabi where ATM we get money day. Download the new Union mobile app today and clear your doubt.
Welcome back from that commercial break. We'll now continue on with the interview that late Professor Dora Akunyili had with Ibrahim Ahmed of NTA. Please stay tuned.
Cause lack of public awareness. So when President Obasanjo insisted on appointing me, politicians came up with reasons why I should not be appointed. They said, well, this is an Igbo lady. The Minister of Health is also Igbo, Professor ABC Nwosu, and who are the drug counterfeiters. So they had a very strong reason, I can say, and gender was also an issue, but it's not hardly brought on the table of discussion. So when President Obasanjo looked at all these things and insisted on putting me in that position, I was challenged. It's like I cannot disappoint this man who has trusted me so much. And besides, I also felt it was a position of trust. And my own sister died of counterfeit medicine.
Yes, I wanted to say, many people say you had a driving,
it's a very big driving force, because I always remembered how she died. She died from counterfeit insulin, to infection at the injection sites. And when I got into NAFDAC, the first things I saw that really put me on fire was insulin injections that were just water, unsterilized. So that actually confirmed to me that it was not only that these insulin injections were not able to bring down this poor girl's blood sugar, but also introduced infections at the sites of injection, because the criminals were not even fair enough to package sterilized water, but they packaged not only products that were not insulin, but products that were not sterilized. So it was a very big driving force. And I also know there were families that had suffered and that we are still suffering. And I felt that, well, as a Christian, as a child of God, God gave me an opportunity to stop that menace, to stop that blood sucking that did not really start in 2001. Remember that blood counterfeit, I call it blood counterfeiting, blood suckers, they started their business in 1968. That was when the first counterfeit drug was detected in Nigeria, when the Crown agents divested as sole distributors of pharmaceuticals. And they grew from strength to strength until they took over the space. So that by early 2001, over 41% of drugs in circulation were outrightly fake. Over 68 were unregistered. So we were in a crisis situation. It was not only drug, what of food, what of baby milk, infant formula, that was cassava flour with sugar and a little milk. Professor, can you imagine how many babies that died?
Yes, Professor, I wanted to say, before your assumption as DG NAFDAC, NAFDAC was existing, but it was not bearing its teeth. What was your action plan?
Well, when I came into NAFDAC, first of all, I wanted to succeed. I think that should be number one in any assignment. If you tell yourself you want to succeed, every other thing will follow. Then what made the past administrations not to succeed? We needed to examine it with my wonderful staff. We laid off some staff, yes. But we kept most of the staff because what they needed was training and retraining and reorientation for them to appreciate that this is a special assignment, that it was a special assignment. And we started restructuring, creating more directorates, and very importantly, having zero tolerance to corruption. Because the bane of regulation is corruption. Corruption and, of course, lack of awareness. Because if people know what you're doing, then you get help. If people don't know what you're doing, you can just be collecting money and relaxing. But if you are focused on succeeding and shun people's money, irrespective of whose ox is God, it's not just money that is involved in corruption. When people are your relations, you should not start looking at people as my brothers or sisters or friends. You should be moving like a train in anti-corruption movement, especially in the area of counterfeit medicine, because it's a form of corruption and the worst aspect of corruption. So when we now started enforced our registration processes, started, sanctions, You know, registrations were being done before I went to NAFDAC, but there were very little sanctions. And when there are no sanctions, human beings would like to do whatever they like to, whatever is easier for them. Then we put in place very strong people outside this country, especially in India and China, to recertify drugs before they are imported into the country. That gave us huge success. And the person that certified our drugs in India, Goodall, in fact, Indians even tell me that the problem with Goodall is that he doesn't know that there's 99%. It must be 100. He was the head of Food and Drug of Mumbai, and a man of impeccable integrity, a man that even his enemies would tell you that this man is honest to the core. We had one in China. We were very desperate to get somebody in China, and in the end, when it became very difficult, we took somebody that eventually turned out to be very good. And again, we had a very strong structure at the ports, ensuring that samples are taken and of course, and tested, and of course, ensuring that they bring documentation from our analysts abroad. You see, these things, if they are not enforced, they come to nothing. We also had sustained systematic surveillance of all shops and markets from time to time to clean out the counterfeit drug and, of course, sanction people. It was when the traders at Onitsha started beating up our staff and destroying our vehicles that we closed the market. We didn't just close the market because there were counterfeit drugs there. No, not that we would allow them, but if they had allowed us to do our routine screening, we would have screened and removed from time to time whatever we felt was not the best for our people. So we had strategies that were novel. And these strategies came into my head from time to time. I shared with my hardworking staff, and they always moved with me because I slept, I ate, I walked NAFDAC. It was my life.
Yes, it was.
Like, for instance, a landlord, if we get any building with counterfeit medicine consignment, and the owners started running away, we would not be able to find the owners. We put up regulations that the landlords will be arrested. And as soon as we arrested a landlord in Lagos, people knew we were serious. And people stopped accepting to keep people's drugs until they cleared from NAFDAC. It was holistic. That for each inspection there must be pharmacies. So in that way, most NAFDAC staff had opportunity to travel. And when they travel, they get their ESTA code, they get exposed. So with all these laggards, I was able to find myself in a position to tell them, listen, we are doing all this for you to be comfortable. Please, let us grow NAFDAC so that all of us would enjoy and our own people would be kept alive for NAFDAC to remain alive.
Inasmuch as it was a life and death issue, drug administration and control, it was also a do or die affair for some of the drug barons, let me call them that, because the counterfeiters. What were some of the challenges you faced, and how were you able to overcome them?
Thank you very much. The drug counterfeiters were, first of all, believing that it was the usual Nigerian thing, that this woman is just making noise. In a few months, we pay her off, and we go back to business as usual. They sent people to talk to me. There was one that each time I remember, I get goose flesh. Somebody coming to say, you see, you can't really fight these people. They are totally entrenched. What you can do is, if they have 10 containers, you can tell them the 9 containers they should take, and then you return one, seize that one container, make noise about it, and then business will go on. Take your money and go. This is what people do in this country. And you see, when I screamed at him, he started saying he was joking. That kind of thing. Or people come and say, we want to discuss how to do things, how we really want to give you X, Y, Z money, and you say, which money? And you see, your reaction would not even allow that discussion to continue. And I also had problems of people collecting money and claiming that they were collecting for me. That was at the initial stage when people did not know what I was up to. There was one example of somebody that collected $2 million from a company and told that company that was coming for mediation in NAFDAC with another company that he was going to give me the money and that they were going to get their whatever approved. So when they came for the meeting, the guy actually brought the man to my house, but when they came like it was Christmas, and he was playing familiarity with me. I didn't know he was trying to tell the man, look, we are friends. Anyway, so in the end, when they came for this arbitration and their case was bad, and they said, nonsense, you can't do this. If you try it again, bam, bam, bam. So they left. They went to my husband and said, we sent 2 million naira to your wife through this person, and your wife disgraced us before everybody today. And my husband said, my wife, it is impossible. Go and take your money. So when I came back on weekend, my husband said, this is what is happening. I said, I'll call the police, I'll do this, I'll take them up. My husband said, look, cool down. Criminals can go to any length. If you take them up, it is your words against their words. And you may never win, because they will lie and lie until they destabilize and distract you. The only thing you can say, which you can be reinforcing what I said, is to tell them to go.
More thought-provoking words from late Professor Dora Akunyili after this quick commercial break. Please stay tuned. Late Professor Dora Akunyili's interview with Ibrahim Ahmed of NTA continues right now. Stay tuned.
Distract you. The only thing you can say, which you can be reinforcing what I said, is to tell them to go and take their money, because that man has done 419 to them. So there were occasions like that. But you know what? After about 6 months, there was no longer any move by anybody to bribe me, because people now came to accept that there was no need for going to approach this woman.
You will not be compromised.
Because she would not be compromised. So I had no problem after maybe 4 or 5 months. And in fact, if anybody was giving money or asked to come and give me money to compromise me 7 months after being in office, that person would say, I will not go, because she would not take. So that was settled, totally settled. And you see, these criminals, when their monies were rejected, they got violent, they got frustrated, because they had been operating like kings and lords. Big companies thought that it was going to be easy for them, like Nestle and others, that we are packing expired milk and others, and we stopped them. In fact, that Nestle case was even, they were caught before I became DG NAFDAC, but it was being covered up. So the director, Mrs. Ukebu, a very upright woman, came and told me that this Nestle case was covered some months ago. Are you willing for me to bring it up? I said, please, bring it up. We cannot cover anything. If we cover big people and face small people, then we better stop regulatory work, because there's no way we can succeed. So she brought the file, and I took it up. And eventually, the milk was destroyed. They paid fine. I wrote an apology, and similar other companies. And you see, these things went international. People started knowing, Nigeria is no longer a dumping ground. I went to India. I had meetings with the drug manufacturers, with the regulators, and I told them to their face in India that you are killing our people. The fake drugs are coming from here and from China. The genuine drugs are produced and distributed here, and you're sending counterfeit to us. This is not right, and this is what we have come to fight. This is what the president and the minister have told us to fight, and have put in place independent analysts that must be respected. If your drugs are not analyzed and certified, it cannot get to Nigeria, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so when these criminals got frustrated, they started threatening me, threatening my family, writing my husband. They went to Benedion High School to kidnap my son. My son denied me. He said I was not his mom, I was his auntie. And in fact, because of that, we had to whisk him to join his siblings in America, because my children actually went to America long before I became became DG NAFDAC because I won the American visa lottery. Anyway, let me not digress. So this continued until
they got... Well, it's something I'd wanted to know. You didn't tell me your husband and your number of children anyway.
I will tell you. They got violent, they got frustrated, and they started by attacking NAFDAC staff. As I told you, they attacked them at Onitsha. Destroyed 6 vehicles when they didn't want them to screen the market. They attacked them in Kano. They burnt our buildings. They attacked me and shot me from the back. My headscarf was shattered. Was
that close?
It was very close because the scalp was burnt like hot water burn. The case is still in court. One of the suspects had been released by the Supreme Court, but others are still in court. And my prayer is that in my lifetime, that case will be concluded. Because if it is not concluded, it's not good for our country. And so on and so forth. And eventually, the whole system got stabilized. When they thought I would run away, and I refused to run. My family actually did not want me to go on second term. That was why it took me about 1.5 years to write letter for my second tenure. I was inside my second tenure for 1.5 years before I wrote a letter, because my board, especially my chairman, Dr. Andy Andem, kept saying, listen, whatever you're doing in NAFDAC, somebody can go to court and declare them illegal because you've not gotten second tenure. Because I didn't write. My family didn't want me to have second tenure. It was President Obasanjo that called my husband and talked to him to support me to go on after 5 years.
Professor, I just want to find out from you, as a Nigerian who's been through this in NAFDAC, what's your belief in Nigerians and our capacity really to turn around our country for better?
We can turn around any institution, any agency, any ministry if we are determined to do that. If we are determined to shun money, if we are determined to face the consequences of swimming against the tide. Because it is swimming against the tide. There are consequences. There will be verbal attacks and there may be physical attacks.
Late Professor Dora Akunyili was very passionate about building a Nigeria of excellence that when she was the Minister of Information and Communications from 2008 to 2010, she spearheaded the Rebranding Nigeria project with the slogan, Good People, Great Nation, and a catchy jingle.
Every day for Nigeria, as they degrade even before Kokoro. Plenty people don't wake up to begin work here for Nigeria. Farmers, them there. Builders, them there. Market people on call, we there. Teachers, we there. Some they work for office, others na factory. Sports people on call, them on na for stadium. Some people on na to sing. Everybody getting on. Niger people know they lazy. Them not tired, them no give up. Come rain, come shine. Country people na them go make country better. Nigeria, good people, great nation.
You might have remembered this jingle back then. This was part of the jingle that was part of the campaign when it comes to the Rebranding Nigeria project with the slogan, Good People, Great Nation. She encouraged Nigerians to take responsibility and work on themselves to change the negative image of Nigeria among the Committee of Nations.
Our citizenship as Nigerians, we cannot take it to the bank. We want to bequeath to our children a Nigerian citizenship that they can take to the bank. Otherwise, God will not forgive us. And when we talk about inefficiency in educational sector, health sector, political sector, governance and all, everything boils down to corruption. And corruption is not just about giving or taking money. Corruption is about not doing the right thing. And why are we corrupt? Because of lack of understanding. Because we do not understand that we don't need too much. Our wants may be too many, but our needs are very little. And I don't even envy corrupt people because they destroy themselves and destroy their children, generations unborn. And when we look at the way we behave to ourselves and to this country, Nigeria, for which we have no other country that we can call our own. It's all because of bad attitude. That attitude of the past and even the present that we are saying through rebranding, we must change. If we don't change, nothing will change. If we don't change, we will not be able to achieve Vision 2020, because it's human beings that will work to actualize Vision 2020. We will not get it from the air. Angels will not come down. Foreigners will not come here to fix Nigeria for us. They have their own countries to fix. So that change of attitude, which is a critical aspect of rebranding, we must embrace. If we don't embrace it, I'm sorry that we may not be talking seriously. So rebranding is the key. Nigeria of my dream is a Nigeria that Nigeria's people will be so changed in their attitude that we will be in a position to tell the world who we are. That we be in a position to define who we are. Because for too long, people have defined who we are. We need to evolve a Nigeria where we have a sense of pride for our country, where we will love one another, where we will appreciate what we have done and who we are. Right now, we are not even appreciating who we are. We are not appreciating what we have done. Look at Nigeria's role in West Africa through ECOMOG. We brought peace there. Central Africa, Congo, Darfur, and others. Nobody is talking about it. We lost lives, we lost resources. Go to the internet, it is United Nations. Yes, we are working under United Nations, but it's Nigeria through ECOMOG that performed the magic. Look at what we are doing all over Africa through the Technical Aid Corps, sending professionals all over to help develop those countries. Nobody is talking about it. Look at what we did in South Africa during the dismantling of apartheid. Our people even gave up part of their salaries in the 70s and 80s to help in the struggle. Nobody is talking about it. We have beautiful stories to tell the global audience. And we have to, under the platform of rebranding, put ourselves in a position to lend our voice to say, this is who we are, this is what we are doing, this is what we did. And in that way, we'll be able to evolve a Nigeria that people will have a sense of pride. I'm proud of Nigeria despite the challenges. I had an American green card, I gave it up. I'm not excited about it. If I was crazy about it, I would keep my green card and eventually qualify for citizenship. But I don't want it because I love this country with a passion. Without this country, there will not be me. With this country.
But sadly, on the 7th of June 2014, Nigeria lost a gem. A very valuable and impactful gem, Professor Dora Akunyili, died at the age of 59 after a long battle with cancer. She died whilst in India for medical treatment. Her death ran shockwaves nationally and internationally.
When the news broke out Saturday morning that Professor Dora Akunyili had passed on, it sounded unbelievable.
Tributes, eulogies, song renditions, and prayers abounded in the wake of her death and funeral.
For our departed sister, may our sister Dora, who received the grace of baptism, reap its full fruits.
And she made quite an impression.
When she got to India, she called me a couple of times, we spoke. And she assured me she was getting better. And told her that everybody in Nigeria was praying for her.
She was very courageous, as I've already stated. And she was very thorough. If she wanted something, she would pursue it until it was done.
Is that one person can make significant change.
Very, very patriotic.
Into a giant's shoes. So, who did I run to for support?
How long you live, that is important. It is your contribution to your environment.
She's been described by every good word that you can think of.
She's ebullient, fearless, and full of life.
She was indeed a very patriotic Nigerian who had a fervent love for Nigeria. She was also a loving wife, a mother to 6 children. During her funeral service, her husband, Dr. Chike Akunyili, shares some heartfelt words about Dora.
I traveled with Dorothy to Florida, and there at the immigration, they told her, look, you are an American resident, because she won the lottery, and that favored all of us. And here you are. You have Nigeria's diplomatic passport. You must surrender one. They got the shock of their lives. She used her left hand and dropped her green card for them. And retained Nigeria diplomatic passport. So you can see the immensity of her love for this country. And when she was in the local government, they brought a trailer load of fertilizer. What did Dorothy do? She called all the towns involved. And from the trailer, they all loaded their vehicle. When the last town finished, there was not even a drop of a bag of fertilizer left. All the workers came, say, "Madam, we don't do it this way." And Dorothy replied, "This is the way it should be done."
Allegedly, her last public appearance was in March 2014 at the national conference inaugurated by ex-president Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. She was a delegate from Anambra State. Although she looked very frail, she had lost a lot of weight. She spoke passionately and ended her speech with a thought-provoking proverb.
A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in.
A former Cross River Governor, Donald Duke, said this about her. "I'm yet to see any Nigerian, either living or dead, who has surpassed her record in awards recognition. The laurels she has had showcases how far and well-labored she has been to her fatherland and beyond shores." Late Professor Dora Akunyili left a legacy of going against the grain and fight corruption viciously as a leader of integrity and governance. Well, that concludes today's story of late Professor Dora Akunyili. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Well, next month there will be more episodes of this from this series called Legendary Women, where we get to narrate the story of legendary women in our country. I am Timi Tokbe Oluleye. Thank you so much for listening. Do join me next week Tuesday at 11 a.m. for another interesting episode. Have a wonderful day.